So it seems like you guys are the lucky guys. We're getting today the presentation and also a couple of shirts, so you guys are gonna be the first ones. If you like mine, I hope it's gonna be like that. So good morning, guys. My name, as some of you already know, my name is Jaime Rosales, and I'm a technical evangelist for Autodesk. And
Did they give that title to you?
what?
Did they give that title to you?
It's actually senior developer consultant, but when I'm doing presentations, I have to do it. It's a technical evangelist. Yeah. I wanted to put like technical ninja, but I guess not, right? So, a little bit about myself. I work for the AEC work group of the Autodesk Developer Network. So I provide developer support for Revit API, Glue API, and now I'm starting to actually give these presentations about the View and Data API that I'm going to show you today. So, pretty simple and quick. What's this presentation about? Well, it's about the available palette of web services that we have at Autodesk, and this is actually increasing. Includes stuff like rendering, coordination, and the viewer for itself. So I will give you an overview on what the API is, and these things actually include the two APIs that we have. One of them is the REST API, which is the server management one, and the second one it's gonna be the JavaScript one, which is the client-side one, which is fully customable. So this technology is actually all based on WebGL and library 3.js. If you guys are familiar with the term of WebGL, well, there's many things that actually talk about it on the web, like Wikipedia has its own definitions. Go for it. One of the partners here, Kronos, actually has a good definition on WebGL too, but it can only get resumed onto that it's a web-based graphic library, which is derivative from OpenGL, and so every API that we use to control this WebGL will be based on JavaScript. So, like I said, in our side, we use the 3.js. So, the first thing that I'm going to talk to you about, it's the View and Data API. So, whenever you want to expose the models that you have created with your team, so no matter where in the world you are, you have a lot of components to show. So, it all comes down to how do you want to display them. So, you want to display them in 2D, you want to display them in 3D. So all that data was probably built in either some Autodesk software and also some other kind of software. It doesn't have to be specifically for Autodesk files. So let me go to a simple quick demo on how actually the large motor viewer from us actually works. I'm going to show you a couple of models, and I'm not only going to show you graphical content, also I'm going to show you the capabilities that it has according to metadata, and also some of the callbacks that we have included on the viewer. So let me just step out of here for a second. Okay, so I'm going to turn around because other than that I cannot see from the camera what the hell I'm doing. So basically we have here, this is a Revit model of an office that we have in Waltham, Massachusetts. It's a pretty large model. So as all kind of viewer has, it has the functionalities of the changing angles of the camera, orbiting around and all that. But with this model also we have access to all the metadata on it. So let me explain what I mean with that. So how do we do this possible? So what we do is we take the model into the viewer. So we translate it into very light web format. Very light web format pieces. And we break the model into multiple small JSON, and then later on we show it on the viewer. So so it's not a file that we just put up on a website. It's actually a connection from the client to the server. So what I mean with this is that we establish a stream between the JavaScript viewer and also to the Autodesk server. So, like I said here, I'm not only want to show you graphical content, also I want to show you some metadata. So for example, as we see here, we have actually access to this model structure, where we have the access to every single part of the model. Let's say, for example, we have access to all the walls in the model. And as you see, once everything is selected, so everything gets like kind of like ghosted out. And at the same time, since I have an annotation set up there. Give me 1 second. These are some of the extensions that actually I'm going to show you in a minute. So let's say that I select this wall, right? So we have access to these properties. And as you see, we have access to the metadata, which includes the GUID, which is coming from Revit. We have access to the label, the ID, and also like the base constraint of the first floor and stuff like that. Let me just reset my model really quick. So what we're gonna do now is that we're gonna search for all the windows. So once we search for all the windows, again, it's the same thing as we were selecting here, but we have access to this kind of filter from all the inside of the viewer. Everything on this viewer, when it comes to the UI, you guys can chop it off in so many different pieces that you want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to look like this. This is actually a viewer gallery that one of my colleagues actually built. And like I was showing you before, we have some of the extensions that it can be created on like JavaScript and all that. So let's see, I'm gonna get back to this annotations one. So we select like one of the walls, and then we have access again to the label on it. So this thing actually like follows you through when you like move around in order not to lose the piece where you're actually like selecting on it. So this extensions also, it gives you access to the source. So let's say I want to see the source of the annotation. We have all this part here. We only have to add a couple of CSS extensions on it, and that will be like right on it. But I will show you more about that in a minute. Just want to show you another thing with another model. This is a simple Navisworks model. It's a little house. We have something that is called the exploding mode. So the exploding mode, what it does is simply just breaks the entire model into a lot of little pieces. So here again, we can find like everything that relates to the model structure. We can find again all the windows. And as you see, everything just stays like in the same way of exploding mode. So now let me get back to my presentation. So okay, so now that you've seen this technology actually work live, we can go like a little bit more into detail on how this is working, and we also are gonna go through the steps of the getting started, and I'm gonna show you also the resources that we have for you guys to start building your own applications. So first we have to take into consideration, like I mentioned before, that we have two APIs available. So one of them is the REST API, which is the server management API, which it will do the translation of the files. So like I said before, this allows you to translate to any almost like 100 design models into the multiple objects. This data is extracted from the original file and also the geometry of every element it comes with it. The second one will be the web client API. Like I said, we are using the 3.js library. So it simplifies the displaying of this interaction. Like I said also, many of the callbacks are available, like the mouse click, like I show you with the annotations extension, the click on a specific model element to obtain all the metadata back, the changes in the camera position, and so many more things. So supported formats, this is a small list actually of what we are supporting. So I just picked like some of the ones that I tend to use more often. So as you see, we have Autodesk files and non-Autodesk files. So, and there's a lot of them getting implemented every day. So I will show you a complete list once I go through the example of actually how can you guys use it in order to implement it if you want, and anything that you guys are building today, it can just get started like that. So to getting started, first step, it's go to developer.autodesk.com. Here we have access to the API documentation. We also can request an access key to get the connection to the server, and this access key will actually look a little bit like this. So it will give you back a consumer key and a consumer secret, and don't worry about these keys, actually are some random ones that we have in there. So this key is actually, what it's doing is like protecting your model in the server, so which will give you the authorization access once you have that keeper. So it's your way to authorize yourself to the server. So the way that the getting started server management workflow goes, it's simply first register the account. Second, you get an access token. Since we're using a REST API, we need it. And then we create a bucket. Think of a bucket as a container where you're gonna store the translation of your models. Later on, we're gonna upload that object or that model. We're gonna request the translation, and then we're gonna access to the client, which is the JavaScript side. So if you guys want, I have really cool shirts there that I can give away. I would like, if some of you are interested in actually following the steps, it's actually 13 simple steps on how to do it on the developer Autodesk GitHub.io. So let me get back to that real quick. Okay, find my mouse. Okay, so very quickly. So like I said, 13 easy steps. Step 1 is to try the viewer live. You can skip that one. We already actually did. I just showed it to you. The step 2 is the sign up process. So I don't know if you guys have Autodesk ID account. If you don't, it's okay. You can go on to accounts.autodesk.com. Just get your ID in there. It's simple, quick, free. And then after that, once you have that request of the access keys, we're gonna request the access token. So since I don't want to go with you guys through right now with the project that we have, which is available for everybody on how to request this auth token to talk to the server, we have simplified in this quick start guide the use of a CRUD statement. So it's a simple string here that it will get the consumer key part and the consumer secret replaced with the ones that we give you back from the requesting of this key. So I already have it set up here. So as you see, again, the same string, and then I just substitute the client ID with mine that I have set up for this demo, and also the consumer one. So once we have this, we're gonna get the authentication. So we got what kind of token we get, the expiration, and how much. So I think it lasts around 30 minutes per every call to the server. So you have to be doing like a constant call to it, and then just get back this auto token. So pretty simple. We're gonna do an authentication here. So it's just gonna give us back the same string that we just put it. So this means on this sample that actually we already like have been authenticated. So step 4 will be to create a bucket. So we have 3 kinds of different buckets. One of them is the transient, the temporary, and the persistent. So what does mean? Transient, it's a bucket that you create that is going to be available only for 24 hours. The temporary one, it's one that it's going to be available for 30 days. And then the person one, that one, it's going to be available until you delete it. I think it goes away after 2 years if you haven't been using it that much, but other than that, it should be there. So right now, I'm not gonna create a bucket. I already have one that I created, a temporary one. So the name of this bucket is Jaime, yeah, that's the one, Demo AEC. So then here we're gonna return to you the bucket details. We get back this with the key of the bucket, which is the Jaime Demo AAC, when it was created, the permission, and the server ID, and the access, which is like a full thing. So like I said before,
that's just the JSON screen.
yeah,
Which one?
yeah, and then to get the supported formats, like I mentioned before, we have a long list of extensions. Some of the ones that I can think that might interest you will be DWFs, DWGs. We have SAT files somewhere here. Like I said before, the SolidWorks one, the CATIA, JPEGs, BMP, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like there's a lot of them actually that are being supported, Revit ones, of course, and then NWDs. And then the next step will be to upload a file to the bucket. So, like I said before, I already upload one, but I just want to show you that, for example, if I upload this Navisworks one, once you open it, it does a quick check to see if the files actually read successfully. So this means that this extension is actually supported. I'm not gonna upload it right now because I already did. So we're just gonna quick access those bucket object details. So Jaime, there you go, see the ice stadium again. So again, we get back a JSON with the information. And in here we have something that it will be the trivial part to actually identify our model, which is this URN of the ID of your model. So this is how you're gonna identify your model in the server. So what we're gonna do is copy this string. And then let me just quick talk about this step 9. I'm not gonna use it right now, but what it means is, let's say you have an architectural model and a structural model, right? So that's what it says right there, linked files. So you can have both files actually being uploaded to the same part of the server. Once you display it, you have access to both models separately and also together. So what you simply do is like you name one of them as the parent of that, and then you submit the other one with the child. So same process again. You upload it to the bucket, you obtain that URN, you substitute it there with the link files, then you substitute it again, the other one with the root file, and that will give you back once you show it on the viewer, it will give you back that model completely with all the things. So the string that I copied before, so we're gonna have here an encoded to the base 64 of this thing. This string actually doesn't mean anything to humans, I guess, but to the server, it will. So the translation of the file, we use again that encoded URN that we just got. So right now, if you guys try it for the first time, it will give you a result of success if the translation went well. In my case right now, it's gonna give me one result of created because I already translated, so it's already set up in my bucket. And then again, we can check the translation status to see how is it doing right now, like is it complete, is it in progress, like how percentage of the successful it's already uploaded. So like I said before, this file already was testing it out on Tuesday, so it's been complete with the progress, the status is successful, and then we have 100% of the file on the viewer. So now again, well, the last step, which is the 13th one, to show this on the viewer. And it's gonna freeze because I'm doing a demo, of course. So now we get loaded that UI viewer again. This is quite a big model on Navisworks. I know you were having problems yesterday with that model, so we can actually try your model and this kind of thing. And after the demo, of course, I can help you out with that. How fast is the internet here?
Let's just hope that's not the loading bar in the bottom left, right?
No, it's not. It's,
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, it's just a progressive bar of like different graphical content that comes in chunks. Since we have those mix up of like the breaking of the JSON objects, so it sends one and then sends another one and sends a burst of a couple more and all that. So this is not a loading part. Okay, but while we wait for this thing, you have access to this source code of this entire quick start guide, also in the GitHub repository that we have. So we have many different examples in there. Let me just continue with this, and that way we don't waste too much time. Then we're gonna get back to it.
What is the future pricing structure that Autodesk is seeing? I mean, whatever you see on the GitHub is not the JavaScript code, right?
Well, there's
the code that runs behind the scenes that would generate the model, push it into the browser. It's not included, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
So, what is the pricing structure for the future?
Well, right now, since we still have it in beta, everything is free. So if I will suggest, I would say, get your keys, start touching, playing around with it, because I honestly don't know if they're gonna like put a price on it later on or not. So might as well just take advantage right now that it's like fully open, and that way like you can continue using it after, right? So, like I was saying before, with the getting started on the client side, so we need a browser that supports the WebGL canvas. You already guys know this list, I guess. And then we can also have like a simple embedding of the models that we have in many different places. I'm gonna show you one that is being embedded on a blog post in TypePad. Someone also did an embed of one of the models in his Facebook page. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with this embedding part. So like I said before, the load of the URL in the JavaScript viewer. So you create a HTML5 page, you add these references to it, and then after that you have access directly to the server using, again, like I said, the authentication consumer key and the secret key and all that. So you add this to your container. I know that WebGL has to be a canvas, but in this case we're gonna use a div. And then the initialization of the viewer, again, simple string. This thing is actually accessible anywhere in the GitHub repository. I tend to actually just copy and paste this thing most of the time. I just submit that URL string in there, which will the one that identifies my model. And then again, a little bit of extension on this client-side API. Well, like I said before, we have access to the hierarchy, metadata, the callbacks, the events, and mostly everything. So, resources. Like I said, developer.autodesk.com. I'm gonna give you some shirts. That one actually have a QR code in the back. Brought you to there, so you even don't have to remember it. It's fine. So also I'll give you the link to the GitHub repository where we have like different samples. We have integration with SharePoint, Timeliner with what else? Well, Node.js, Python workflow, a PHP one. So there's a lot of different things inside there that you guys can play around with it. And if you like to be like keep up to date with how the bureau is actually doing, what some of my colleagues are actually testing and trying, you guys are welcome to follow this blog, which is the Cloud and Mobile Dev blog. We have posts in there, I'll probably say roughly maybe 3 to 4 times a week. And crazy thing that people is trying, and updates on how this is going. At some point, I guess, an update on the pricing part, but I don't know about that. So some of the demos that I showed you before. We also have the links to it. I can show you the Facebook one if the internet is actually not complaining with us today.
And then just to jump in, if anyone is interested to see how this same thing works on cardboard, I have some examples here of it showing in the view with voice recognition. So this is one of the things that's kind of cool is that they split the camera on both sides. So you can kind of see it, as you can tell, as I move my device. And I think you can give it commands to explode or not. But yeah, you want to do VR.
Cardboard?
Yeah, I'll show you. So.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Froze. It wouldn't be a demo if it didn't happen that, right?
Exactly right.
So, well, questions, complaints. Yeah, just kidding.
So, the second to last screen that you showed was before, just one before the cloud mobile dev block.
Mm-hmm.
You had a lot of modules that were plugins for browsers spaces like Node and.
Yeah. That's accessible for you guys. And
What was the URL to that? Is that also?
there we go.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Viewer API samples. Okay.
Yes.
So, question. So say someone wanted to not use 3JS, but use like X3DOM or a different runtime. Is that possible?
To be honest with you, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. I will lie to you if I said something, but no, I don't know. Yeah.
And then I guess then my next question is what about terrain data? So, because that's pretty important, right? I mean,
I don't think we haven't reached that point yet.
Okay.
This, like I said, we're still like in beta, and it's advancing. Yes, it like from the first time that you saw it, it has come to like growing exponentially and all that. So I'm pretty sure at some point we're gonna, because like you said, it's very important for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So we are taking that into consideration, and we also like I said before, we don't want to be a viewer for only this kind of certain files. We want to like support like abroad everything, right? So
Is there any way that you can push, let's say, JSON file or something like that, rather than having files uploaded?
I don't to do the translation of the file.
Yeah, I mean, let's say, for example, if you have a mesh, whatever reason, and then you will generate the mesh, rather than having an Autodesk, AutoCAD or Navisource, whatever file, being able to generate, let's say, JSON file and JSON format and push it into the viewer to view the geometry.
I haven't tried that. I don't know actually. So it will be something good to try, I guess, and just check it out.
I'm curious why you want to do that.
Let's say, for example, you want to generate the geometry on fly, right? So based on some data, you can generate the geometry in your generate meshes that you have, and then you can push it here, rather than going to Autodesk products or whatever other products that are supported generated.
That's what it does, right? But it just leaves it in the Autodesk cloud, so then you need a key to access it. So the JSON's there, you just don't send it to us.
Yeah. So yeah, like once you upload it to the server, you don't care. We don't care about the model anymore. Like
Yeah, it's in the
we
bucket.
care about the translation.
Right.
So that translation is accessible to you from the bucket.
Can we pull that translation down, or
I believe you might be able to. Yeah.
yeah? Because then you could really standalone it in a map.
Yeah. I guess I don't know. We can try.
Is it possible to upload multiple files at once? So we can merge the geometry
With the set reference part that I show you, that you can actually link files into it. Yeah.
So one from Revit file and one from DWG. So can I merge all together in the same view?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't see why not.
Well, that would lead me to think performance. Where do you find that you're starting to hit? Because I mean, I've seen some pretty big models, right? So.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they're doing stuff to actually like make it better because I know that some of you actually, I don't remember who was that was telling me yesterday that there's other viewers that actually their performance actually a lot better, and so it's.
Ah, you guys are a startup. We'll cut you slack, right? So that's
It's okay. Now, one last question. Can you guys give me your shirt size?
awesome.
You want shirts? If not, it's fine.
I want shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Hackathon
Brought a
without
big
shirt.
bag like it was a laundry bag, but they throw away my.
The question is,
My
what
box.
size shirt do you wear?
I'm a 2XL,
Right.
and I have 2 more 2XLs. So, but I don't think you're a 2XL.
No. Okay.
They made me with a lot of love. I heard so.
Is the processing done in Singapore or is it multiple? Probably Singapore, right?
Yeah, I believe so.